So here's that restriction point. Copy. Here's that restriction point for folks westbound on the US 60. And they just took that pedestrian off in the ambulance. Again, it looked like he had pretty serious injuries. Here's the, where are we at? There's one crash. Looks like a pretty severe crash with vehicles on the roadway. Poor kiddo. Looks like maybe dad holding the kiddo there. And luckily it looks like those guys are okay standing outside of their cars. We don't know if anyone else was injured. If you're asking what's up on the stream, unfortunately I don't have the internet going up here too well, but it looks like we definitely saw that pedestrian that was struck had pretty severe injuries. Don't want to classify or speculate on what that pedestrian's injuries or the severity, but they looked pretty bad. Suffice it to say, they looked pretty bad. That pedestrian was laid out on the freeway. Apparently, he was running from a traffic stop. Is the latest information that we have. This is possibly, I don't know if this is an unrelated accident, but that's a second spot of collision or traffic accident right at the US 60 as you approach Mill, and there's the backup. A lot of cars being forced to exit at Mill Avenue, westbound, US 60 at Mill. This is east of Phoenix in the Tempe area. Let me zoom back and show you where that pedestrian was hit after Mill Avenue. Pedestrian hit on the freeway, and it looks like that car struck at a pretty, well, it was a pretty severe impact, severe enough to cause some pretty significant damage to the hood, windshield, and roof of the car that presumably hit that that patient. And that patient just went off to was just loaded in an ambulance and went off to the hospital. Here's another look at that car. And you can see pretty severe impact. Again, the latest information that we have is that this pedestrian was running from a traffic stop on the freeway. So folks were probably wondering, well, why is there a pedestrian on the freeway? Apparently this pedestrian was running from a traffic stop, and that's when that pedestrian was hit. And freeway remains closed. DPS has the freeway closed. Here's what the closure looks like at Mill. You got all this traffic backed up, a lot of traffic being forced to exit. You're going to want to take the Loop 202 instead. If you need to get westbound from Mesa area and Tempe into Phoenix or western parts of the valley, north parts of the valley, just hit up the 202 instead. Chopper to news desk. How long would you like us to stay over the scene? So it looks like your point A. Let's pan back and show. Copy that, 5 more minutes. And I'm looking at your point A is way, way back, basically by the Loop 101, it looks like, is where it starts stacking up. Loop 101 all the way over to Mill, now packed with jam-packed with cars trying to get off at Mill Avenue, being forced actually to get off exit at Mill Avenue because a pedestrian was struck on the freeway after trying to run away from a traffic stop. Folks, never do that. And condition of that patient unknown, but from what we could see, that pedestrian sustained pretty serious injuries. Here's another look at those westbound vehicles, westbound US 60 being forced to exit at Mill. And that's a lot of vehicles to be squeezed onto one exit lane the Mill Avenue exit. That accident happened a little bit further west